Hey Fit Pros, before we get to this new episode in the KIPS podcast, I want to quickly share about our newest course on KIPS, Social Media for Fitness Professionals. This course is all about the fundamentals. As a Fit Pro, you know how fundamental exercises are important for building a foundation within an exercise program, and that's what we're going to be doing in this course. Authored by me, Tyler Valencia, I go through the stats involving all the major social media platforms and then show you step by step how to do it. In the first lecture, I built a fictitious business branding kit with a new logo, color wheel, and font. And then we use those to set up new Facebook pages, start a private group, how to use Creator Studio, set up a basic Facebook ad, set up an Instagram, how to post on Instagram, and how to set up a YouTube channel. We do it all in this course, and one of the best parts is you can get your continuing education credits. Head to the link in the description to find out more. Let's get to the show. Welcome to episode 75 in the KIPS podcast. My name is Tyler Valencia, and I'm the president of KIPS and Time to Train Fitness. This episode is a fantastic listen for entry-level instructors that are looking at their options, especially in 2022. We're finishing 2022 as this is being recorded, and we're looking into 2023 and looking at their options. What is it that you can go into? Do you work for a gym? Do you start your own business? Do you do it online? There's more options these days, and we're going to be talking about the contractor versus employee status, which road to go down, and the benefits of them. This episode spawned from actually a couple blog posts. I've written about this blog post twice, and the original ones, they resonated from experience in terms of speaking with entry-level instructors and them not knowing that they had options, that they didn't know that there were different options or even thinking that one is better than the other. And I'm going to start out by saying not one of them is better than the other. And I'm going to start off by saying that there is no better option. They are both dependent on where you are in your career, your options, maybe even your facilities around the area. Are there gym options in your area that have great programs for entry-level trainers that teach you the basics, that have a solid client base that purchases personal training or has a very established group exercise program? Or do you need to go down the independent route? And right now, I should also mention that if you are a veteran in the industry, you're a veteran in the industry, and maybe you have another benefit that you want to throw in there, please throw this on social media in the private group somewhere so that other entry-level fit pros can learn and listen to veterans that are in the industry. So I'm going to take a step back here and go back to how those blog posts originated. And there was a time when I owned a live boot camp and we had a internship program. And with the internship program, I would occasionally pull from those for instructors to hire to teach the boot camp later on as I was growing it, scaling it, looking at different times. And pulling from the space was a way to hopefully create a pathway for entry-level instructors to get good experience and to get experience working in front of a live audience. And there was this time where I was looking to hire somebody, took recommendations, was speaking with instructors and talking to interns. And I was speaking with an individual that was relatively new within the industry. And I told them that they would be an independent contractor. So I would not be their employer. They would be an independent contractor. And the response was that they weren't ready to go down that route. They weren't ready to be an independent contractor. And I found it very interesting, to say the least. It was fascinating to get a response like that. And I believe it comes from not knowing that there are differences, there are benefits of both, there are negatives of both, but it's really an option that once you get into the industry, you sometimes do both at the same time. Maybe you are an employee at a gym, but also a contractor or another, or you're an independent. And so knowing that these options are out there, it's important. It's important to know these so that you can make these choices and maybe even adjust at any point. And now with this topic becoming a podcast episode, I found that throwing in the element of online, I thought that that's an interesting point to throw in there because it's a real option for fit pros across the globe. Now, I want to make sure that I give a disclaimer or a caveat for this. Of course, there are exceptions to all these. all the benefits, all the negatives, all of the items I talk about, there are exceptions to all of them. And instructors, they can do both at the same time. As I mentioned, you could be a contractor and you could be an employee at the same time. Now, if you are doing both at the same time or looking at potentially doing both at the same time, make sure that you are working for the gym that's not going to punish you for it. That was actually something relatively new that I heard when I was speaking with an instructor that was a manager, and he was mentioning how the gym that he works for, they wouldn't even let them do online for other companies, that they would restrict what they would do outside of their gym. And I found that fascinating since it's very hard to become a full-time trainer, instructor in the fitness industry. That is something very difficult. That takes time, experience, and a lot of hard work. So when I hear about gyms restricting instructors, it just surprises me. Like, what? These people are trying to make a living. They need to do as many things. They got to hustle. That's the big key word right there, is that instructors need to hustle. So as we go through this, just remember, there are exceptions, there are caveats, and sharing with other entry-level fit pros could hopefully help them make their decisions. Now, before we jump into some of the benefits of each of these, I want you to ask yourself some questions. And this is more directed towards those entry-level instructors, but ask yourself some questions that can change depending on your status in the industry or even your experience. So first question here, and keep these in mind as you go through all these. Do you have the skills to be an independent instructor, or would you benefit from working in a gym? And we're going to answer all these as we go through. Next question here. Do I have time to learn the skills of running a business? And then last question, what is the most important thing to me now? And these answers will come to you. They might resonate with each one of these benefits that we go through, but just keep these in mind because those are very key questions to ask yourself when you're looking at the options within the fitness industry. So we're going to start by talking about benefits of being an employee. And that means you could be working for a gym. That could be a big gym, small gym, health club, could be a YMCA, could be any type of facility where they hire instructors as employees. Now, the first big benefit that I can think of, and this doesn't just relate to personal training, it can be group exercise related, but you have access to the gym's membership base. And that one is huge, that you do not have to set up marketing pathways, advertising. You don't have to create accounts to really try to bring people in. All that stuff is covered for you. But access to a gym's or platform's membership base, it can really help someone that's new. And that's why it's in here for entry-level trainers, is that it's hard to learn all these different skills. And I've talked about before how gyms, franchises, they often, more times than not, and this is not meant to offend anyone, I don't think many gym owners listen to this podcast, but that the typical gym franchise does not have a well-established educational program. And it's mostly because it's hard. There are franchises and gyms out there, corporations out there that they have really solid ones. And I've talked about them in blog posts or in lectures or even conferences that I've attended. I've talked about different gyms, I believe, that have really solid entry-level programs that teach them how to train, teach them how to sell, and teach them how to be a fitness instructor. And it's hard to find those. So if you don't have those options, it really puts you at a disadvantage for entering the fitness industry. But when they have those, and you get that education, you get that experience, and you get paid for it, and now you have access to a gym's membership base to apply it immediately, that is a huge benefit. Now, the next benefit for being an employee is that typically you're going to be legally covered. And that's one that once you go off on your own, one of the first things you're going to purchase is your insurance. Now, some people recommend that you have insurance even when you work for a gym, but typically working for a gym, a facility, they have insurance that covers their instructors as long as all the paperwork's properly filled, questionnaires, health history questionnaires, release of liabilities, all those things are filled out. You're typically good. You don't have to worry about that. And that is a yearly expense that can save you a lot of headaches. So being legally covered, that's a huge benefit in my book. I want to now go back to the online comment that I made in terms of having access to a platform's membership base. Now, I don't know if platforms out there have a membership base that they market to, that, hey, you can go train on this platform and it makes it easier for instructors that way. If there are platforms out there that have that, that could be a great option for entry-level instructors that you could potentially get your foot in the door for online instruction and be able to hopefully get a couple clients, and maybe there's some type of trade-off where they get a percentage of the sale. I don't know what those options are out there, but if it does, that could be something to think about. Let's jump into now the benefits of being a contractor. And now this is one that I personally have probably a little more affinity towards, because I think once you get enough experience and you have that skill set to be a quality instructor, to work with clients, communicate, all those things, I think you should take that jump. You should take that jump to being an independent and seeing how much you can earn that way, hopefully make a living that way. Because if you work for a gym, and this is part of a negative of being an employee, is that they get the bulk share. They have things to pay for. Does it sound unfair on paper? Sometimes it does, but when you think about it, gyms cost money, equipment, the electricity, every single bill that they have to pay for. So them getting the bulk share of a session, it kind of makes sense. So going off on your own now, being a contractor, being an independent, that you get now the bulk share, and now you're paying maybe a fee at a facility, at a gym, it can be a big benefit. Now, there's different setups that I've seen without the industry. If you are an independent, a contractor, that maybe you sign a contract and you have to bring your own clients in, you have to get your own insurance, create your own forms, all those things, and you pay a fee to the facility, and essentially your own business. So that's why I kind of lump both of those into these. Being a contractor, being an independent, is because you're essentially your own business. And coming with that is the freedom to be who you are, but also to build your own. And there's a lot of people that strive for that, to build something of their own, to not have to worry about the gym politics, the whole stealing clients. If you've worked in a gym, you maybe are thinking of a story right now that's in your head that I know that I have a few in my head right now that I'm thinking of that I thought were just ridiculous at the time. And so that freedom, it doesn't really have a price on it, but it's huge. I know that once I went on my own and created my own businesses, training, all that kind of stuff, that freedom, the excitement that you get from watching something grow, it is something you can't really put a price on, but it's worth a lot to people. And that, of course, comes with an element of risk, that you're risking the possibility of your income being lower some months. And so there's a lot of details to figure out in there, but freedom is the one benefit that I want to highlight there. Now, the next one, if you're an independent, if you are a contractor at a facility, is you get more tax write-offs when you're filling out your taxes. And if you filed as a business yourself, so maybe you filed as a single owner LLC, or maybe you're just your own independent business owner, you get tax write-offs with those. This could potentially be the gas that you require to drive to the facility or to train a client, wherever that might be, at their home, in the park, wherever it is. It could be money that you spend on marketing. It could be your food. There's a lot more tax write-offs that you get because these are all elements that are part of your business. We don't really think about those when we're an employee because some of these are covered, but some of those fees that I talked about earlier, your insurance fees, business fees, those can be added as tax write-offs. So you can potentially get some of that money back. And I'm not an accountant. I'm not a lawyer. So do not take my word for that. That's my own disclaimer right there. But I would make sure that you check the state that you live in. How easy is it for you to set up some of these things? Creating a single owner LLC, if the fee is not too high in your state, that could be a great avenue to look at. You're essentially creating a barrier between yourself and your clients. There's a barrier now between your business and you, so things are protected. And there's different ways to increase the write-offs and to create some value in that. So definitely make sure you research that, look into those things in your own individual state, talk with somebody that is more knowledgeable than me in it, but I would highly recommend it if that is something that interests you. Now, the last benefit that I threw in here is creating your own name. And These benefits that I have listed here and talked about already, they're not as tangible as the benefits listed of being an employee, like I talked about with the membership base, the legality of working for a gym. But these benefits, these are things that people strive for. And creating your own name is one of those things. If you are a well-established instructor, you are working for a gym and your classes are packed, or maybe your client base is filled and you're looking at your paycheck and you know, oh man, my clients are loyal to me, or I could definitely do this on my own. Going off and creating your name and creating a career out of it can be something that is eye-opening for you. When you create your own business, you have something that you created and that people refer people to. And now you are establishing yourself in your own market, creating your own name. And these are things that can help you turn a entry-level $30,000 per year salary into a 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Those things take time. They take time. They take practice. They take a lot of patience, but that's the way that you do it. Have I seen in the past instructors making over $100K at a gym? Yes, but those are rare. Those gyms are hard to get into potentially, especially if you're an entry-level trainer, or those areas are maybe in a different city than you. So maybe there's those factors to put into it. But creating your own name and building your own base, that's a way of doing it. Create a career that helps you stay within the fitness industry. Now, those are the benefits of being an employee, contractor. And now in this summary part of the episode, I want to talk more about the online part. So with online, some things to think about. Is your gym going to punish you for doing it? If you are working at a gym and you want to add a piece of online to your business, you want to reach a bigger audience. Maybe you want to do a YouTube channel. Maybe you want to create a subscription service, whatever that might be. I would highly consider looking at these options and looking at if this gym is right for you. If you are a new instructor and you are just getting your feet on the ground and you're looking and talking with different gyms, ask the question, can I do online instruction? Can I create a YouTube channel? Is that going to be an issue? Make sure that you bring that up because you don't want that coming up down the road, because that should definitely be a part of your business. I know that some people might think I'm biased because I already own a business that does YouTube workouts, but it can be such a great avenue for you to add into your business, to have clients around the country, opening up your marketing base. This is a great way to add more income, more revenue into your business. Now, with online instruction, there will be some elements now of the contractor independent. So those are things to consider. If you are adding these into your business, that make sure that you go down that business route of looking into making it legit, making it so that you have all your T's crossed, all your I's dotted, so that you're not going to have any issues down the road. And if you're doing that, if you are going online and you are creating a business for it, and then all of a sudden you have this avenue, and maybe this now opens up a road down for you to be an independent, go away from a gym, and now have that ability to create your own in-person as well. So all of these kind of work together, being an employee, contractor, online, how you can intertwine between these. Do not be afraid to work between them because, as I mentioned before, it is tough to be a full-time instructor. To be a full-time instructor, whether you're training clients, 1v1, small group, teaching classes, it's a hustle. And if you have that ability to create more avenues for yourself and then now have options ahead of you to go between, okay, maybe I want to leave the gym and I want to go independent, and maybe I do want to add online, and now online maybe affords me the ability to go between the other two. That is fantastic. Those are stories that you want to hear about within the fitness industry because it shows the ability to stay after 1 year within the industry. It's tough to make it past that first year. It's tough because of those hours, the early mornings, late nights, the in-between trying to figure out what to do to hustle, all these things, potentially not getting paid for those, but trying to grow a client base. And you're looking at these things and you're like, man, this is a tough industry. Yeah, it is. Keep those things in mind. So that's really been it for this episode. Just hopefully some entry-level instructors, potentially people looking at joining the industry or thinking about what would be the benefit between these. As I mentioned before, if you are a veteran instructor, maybe have some benefits you want to throw into any of these categories, check out the private group, throw something in there, comment on social media. I'm going to link the latest blog post I did on this in the description. Make sure you check it out. Thank you for listening to the KIPS Podcast, and I will see you in another episode. Hey Fit Pros, it's your host Tyler Valencia here. I quickly want to share a free resource we have on the KIPS website and YouTube channel. If you're struggling with your online workouts or just want to see the items that we recommend, check out our virtual training resources page. You'll find breakdowns on streaming setups, reviews on microphones, and other free videos that can help you build your fitness business today. Did I mention they're free? Go check them out at the link in the description or head over to our website to find them under the blog tab.